Hello. I would like to ask a question about our unconscious thoughts. They say that 80 to 90% of what's going on in our mind is outside of our area of awareness. And I'd like you to touch on how that affects how we are attracting when we're not really aware of some of the things that we're thinking.
Well, first we want to say that unconscious thought that they are trying to describe is not a big factor in your point of attraction. It's like a very small flea on the back of a very big dog. But we want to clarify something before we go there with such emphasis, and that is, if you have an unconscious thought, which you're meaning I'm unaware of it, and in your not awareness of it, you're not feeling any emotional response to it, then we would say it's not a big factor in your experience.
Right.
But if you have a thought that you are calling unconscious, but you're having emotional response to it, then it is a player in your point of attraction, and we will not go along with your idea that it is unconscious. People will say, oh, Abraham, it just came out of the blue. And we'll say, no, it didn't. It came out of the oblivious. But it doesn't come out of the unconscious. Unconscious literally means not vibrating, and not vibrating means there's no point of attraction. And you see what we're getting at?
Yeah. What about old programs that are outside of our awareness, something we've been just running, thoughts we run over and
then
over
it's
again?
active. Then it's active, and it's not accurate to call it an old program. It's accurate to call it a current program that I keep alive every day because I regurgitate the same old belief that doesn't work for me and keep it active in my vibration and use it as my excuse to disallow who I really am to be.
And those things can just be turning and turning and turning, and we don't even know they're going on.
But you would know they were going on if you cared how you feel. That's what we meant earlier when we said if you use the criteria of wanting to feel good, you'll ferret them out and you'll shift them.
So I understand the idea that you stay with what feels good for a thought, but so often these other things are just turning and turning, and it's really hard to get away from them.
But the thing is, if they're turning and turning, then you're attracting and attracting. And if you're attracting and attracting, then it's good for you to determine that you would like to do something different, because what you think and what you feel and what you're living always matches. So
Right.
If you like it, change nothing.
Right.
If there's something you'd like to be different, then you've got to adjust the thought process.
Well, I went through this phase where I slowed down a little bit, really being conscious of every thought that was coming out, and just kind of let it roll a little bit. And some of it was beautiful and some of it was ugly, and I just kind of let it come out. And I found that my life didn't go to hell, it stayed going okay. And is that because it seemed like I was trusting another thought form that's outside of myself?
Well, there's a continuity of vibration going on within you.
Yeah.
And the vibration of well-being is so dominant. Even though have you ever noticed that you can get on a subject and beat the drum of it, and you almost get obsessed with it. It just bothers you so much, and the more it bothers you, the more that person does it, and
Right.
and then maybe you'll get distracted from that, and then somebody else is the subject of your wrath for a while, and then you'll get distracted, and then somebody else is, and it's like there's always something. And here's what we want to say about it. You're really going to like this. So what happens is, you have, through the process of life, become. And so there is this part of you that is full and exhilarated and secure and knows well-being. And now you've got something active in your vibration that is like stuck in your vibrational craw. Maybe you even want to call it unconscious. But so here's this person that's just bugging you to death. And as you focus upon that, what we want you to hear is that experience, that one person, is standing in your experience as the representative of a whole lot of resistance that you've got going on, that right now you're just focusing there.
He's my representative.
Now, that person is a representative of a big wad of resistance that you might even wanted to be calling unconscious. And so then you don't work it out with them. You just break up, or you send them on their way, or they go somewhere else. But now somebody else quickly fills in.
Right.
And becomes the representative of this wad of resistance. So what we're saying is, if you take anyone, because you're not, sometimes you might be mad, people that are upset about this and upset about this and upset about this. They're just sort of upset about everything. But whatever it is that they're upset about, whether it's one common thing, or nobody can be upset about everything at once, it's whatever you're giving your attention to. Whatever you're giving your attention to at the time you feel negative emotion is the representative of a bunch of resistance that you've been practicing that is sort of stuck in your vibrational craw. Call it unconscious if you want to, because you didn't mean to do it. You're not deliberately thinking those thoughts. It feels like they're thinking you, but it's active enough within you that you're having the experience. So now what we are suggesting is that if you take this one relationship with this one person and you deliberately try to tell a better feeling story, give the person the benefit of the doubt or whatever it is, then you'll clean up a little bit of that vibration, and maybe it will improve the relationship between you and that person. But not only will it improve the relationship between you and that person, that experience of cleaning it up about that one person now improves your relationship with all those other ones that you were potentially and in the future going to get after too. So let's say, so you cleaned it up a little bit, and like usual, you got distracted and that person moved through your life experience. And now somebody else is the representative of your resistance.
My new congressman right there.
There you go. And it's something, but it's something not as intense as what you had going on before, but it still feels uncomfortable in relationship to who you really are. And this time you do the work again too. And then the next one fills in and you do the work again too. Before you know it, you've had enough different variety of enough different aspects of this thing that's stuck in your vibrational craw that you've cleaned it up.
Yeah.
But so now this is what we want to say to you. By working on it with this situation and this person and this situation and this person, by using the only criteria that works, which is I want to feel better, I want to tune in, I want to see through the eyes of source, I want to see you as the source within me sees you. I no longer want to use you as my excuse to not be in alignment with who I am. As you get that cleaned up, what happens is, or in the process of it, you get into the deeper story. In other words, it was never about the personality of that person to begin with. It was something deeper going on within you. It's what Esther discovered. We told the story yesterday about the torturous experience they had while they were having their bus repaired. It was there for a month and they didn't get on it, and it wasn't ready for them when they picked it up, which is the same old, like I can't find my pen pattern. In other words, it something different than what you feel cannot appear. And Esther would have said, I wasn't thinking those thoughts, but clearly nothing happens that's not a vibrational match to what's going on within you. So while it feels like it was that scheduler's irresponsibility, that person who didn't tell these other people, that person who was disorganized, that person who didn't stay after it, while it feels like it was that person, there's something deeper going on than that particular person, and it's a bigger story about people not doing what they're supposed to do, or people not having respect. There are layers and layers and layers
But
of
it's all
stories.
got to be coming out of here, right?
It's all coming from you, every bit of it, and it's manifesting. In other words, that's what we mean. It's easy to say as it blossoms into something unwanted and there's someone else involved in it, that if you would behave differently, I wouldn't feel this way.
Right.
And we want to say, if you would behave differently, somebody else would come from somewhere else and fill in the gap and give me what I'm asking for vibrationally. That's a better way of telling the story. Next time you find yourself saying, if you'd behave differently, I'd feel better, say, wait, I have a clear way of saying that. If you were behaving differently, I wouldn't be beating up on you right now. I would have attracted someone else to beat up on.
Right. Or that person there is almost a hologram of what's going on inside of us.
Well, that's another good way of saying it. It's a accurate way of saying it. Because everything that comes to you is a vibrational match to the vibration that you're putting out. And your conversation with us is such a good one, because you want to call that attraction that I don't mean to attract unconscious.
Right.
And
Right.
we want you to make it conscious. We want you to activate your awareness of how you feel so vividly that those resistant vibrations that are chronic within you, that you've learned to accept, and you've had them for so long, even the emotion of them feels, a lot of people are just used to being overwhelmed. They're used to being frustrated. That's what Esther said to Jerry with all of this. I think I've just settled in to this feeling of too much to do for so long that I've lowered my standard and I've accepted it.
Yeah.
And then it shows itself to me in these ways of sort of pimples coming to a head, where then I want to get in and deal with it, where there's an underlying thing that is important that I get to. And until she does, or until anyone does, then the evidence of how you really feel is going to continue to come to you.
Right. Okay. That's really good. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.